Welcome to The Explainer. In this one, we're digging into some source material that lays out a really sprawling and unique cosmic history.
All right, let's just jump right in. The text we're breaking down today makes a pretty wild claim. It says that the entire history of our universe actually centers on one single, repeating spiritual line. A lineage it calls a living monument to what a human being can become.
So, where does this story start? Well, not on Earth, and not with a person as we'd recognize one. The source says it all begins with a being named Nokodemion, whose story supposedly goes back billions and billions of years.
And to even start to wrap your head around this, you gotta look at this number. 9.6 billion. That's billion with a B. The source isn't talking about one person's life here. We're talking about a single, continuous spirit that's supposedly been around for almost twice as long as planet Earth.
So how does that even work? Well, at the very heart of this whole thing is this concept called the Geist form, or spirit form. The easiest way to think about it is like the ultimate cosmic hard drive. It's this immortal, non-physical consciousness that just keeps reincarnating, and with every single life, it's collecting more data, more knowledge, constantly evolving.
And what's the point of this incredible 9.6 billion year journey? The text gives a very clear purpose: to create and then spread this universal teaching, a teaching of truth, spirit, and life, meant for all of humanity, for all time.
Now, this journey wasn't just some random wandering. No, the source material lays out a very specific evolutionary map for this spirit form, claiming it traveled and grew across totally different planes of existence.
Okay, so this timeline here, pulled from the text, it kind of maps out the spirit's epic climb. It supposedly spent, get this, 52 million years evolving just as a human. Then it ascended to what's called a half-spirit plane, and after that, a pure spirit plane. But here's the kicker. The journey didn't stop. It did something the source says has never happened before. It came back into a physical body.
And this is a really crucial point. This wasn't just another spin on the wheel of reincarnation. The source frames this return to the physical world as a one-time only deal, a major exception to all the cosmic rules, all for the sake of finishing the mission.
And this is the moment where this huge cosmic drama, spanning billions of years, comes crashing down to Earth, right into the 20th century, taking it from the scale of the universe to the scale of a single human life.
Which, leads to the big, obvious question the whole story has been building to. If this spirit came back, where is it now? Well, the source has a very specific answer for that.
And there it is, the core claim of the entire narrative. It says that this 9.6 billion-year-old spirit form is currently living, right now, as a Swiss man named Edward Albert Meyer, better known as Billy.
And, to back all this up, the source drops a list of names it claims were previous lives of this very same spirit. And it's quite a list. We're talking about some of the heaviest hitters in history. You've got Aristotle, the philosopher. You've got Galileo, the astronomer. Mozart, the composer. And then, for a real twist, even Grigory Rasputin.
The text even throws in supporting documents, like this handwriting analysis from 1996. It describes him as a very solid person, precise, practical, disciplined, kind of like a Swiss watchmaker. Painting a picture of a guy who's perfectly suited for a very detail-oriented job.
So why come back? Why go through all that trouble to return to a physical body? The text is crystal clear that this modern-day life has a very specific and very urgent mission to carry out.
This mission has 4 main parts. First, to finally fulfill that ancient plan. Second, to update and spread the teachings for our time. Third, to correct how those teachings have been twisted over the centuries. And fourth, and this one seems pretty important, to warn all of us about dangers on the horizon.
Okay, so how could one guy possibly know all this stuff? Well, the text introduces another key concept, the Speicherbänke, or storage banks. Think of it as a cosmic cloud server, a database holding all the knowledge from every single past life. And, the text claims, only this one specific spirit form has the password.
The story even includes these supposed conversations with extraterrestrials, and in them they're apparently just as amazed by his abilities as anyone.
This quote here describes him consciously rewiring his own brain after a major injury, a feat they call a total mystery, but one the text connects back to his unique access to that cosmic knowledge. And that brings us to maybe the most concrete part of this whole story, a list of very specific, very detailed prophecies about our world and our future.
Now, the source makes a huge deal about the date here, 1958. It insists these prophecies were written down then, and that's absolutely key to the whole claim, because it positions them as predictions made long before the events, not just observations after the fact. So let's look at an example. This prophecy, supposedly from 1958, talks about a worldwide network of computers and that the simplest citizen will carry a pocket phone. I mean, you got to put that in context, right? In 1958, computers were massive, room-sized machines. The idea of a phone in your pocket, that was straight-up science fiction.
The prophecies then get incredibly specific about politics. The source highlights predictions like the Soviet Union collapsing by 1991 at the latest. And it doesn't stop there. It even points to two distinct wars in Iraq, one waged by an American president and the second one waged by his son.
And this all leads to the big central warning that's woven through all these prophecies. According to the text, pretty much all of our future problems, climate change, political chaos, you name it, they all trace back to one single root cause: global overpopulation.
And the list of these supposed 1958 prophecies goes on and on. It talks about deadly new plagues coming out of Africa, it talks about the cloning of animals, and then later even humans. It mentions extreme cults leading to mass suicides, and even a future with a chip-based, cashless system that's used for total surveillance.
So at the end of the day, what the source leaves us with is just this staggering story. And whether you look at it and see a literal cosmic history, or maybe a really, really detailed modern myth, it brings up a huge question, doesn't it? What does a story like this tell us about our own search for answers? Our need to find some kind of meaning in a world that can feel pretty complex and chaotic?